This is going to be a devotional number 208, and today's date is March 15th, 2017. And we're looking this week at the Old Testament equivalent of 1 Corinthians 2:13, which is Nehemiah 8:8. And I want to briefly mention one aspect of this verse having to do with the word read. This is Strong's number 7121 before we move on to the rest of Nehemiah 8:8. Let me this word is actually quora, is how you would pronounce it. And it's found 38 times. It's actually predominantly translated as call some 528 times, or cried 98 times, but also as proclaim 36 times, named 7 times, named 7 times, guests 4 times, invited 3 times, gave 3 times, renown 3 times, bidden twice, preach twice, and in 11 other miscellaneous ways. So again, like many of the words that we have discovered in the Bible, there's a tremendous amount of nuances and shades of meaning in this word. You also might remember the crucial phrase in Genesis 5:11 that Mr. Camping had discovered, which really helped to unlock the biblical calendar of history, called his name. And this word called is this word, kara, 7121. His name is 8034. And I want to just look at a few verses that have this word, quora, 7121, in them. Genesis 1:5 makes this proclamation, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. On the other hand, this term is also utilized twice in Joel 2:32 during the day of salvation with respect to God's election program. And here it's rendered as, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call, and also at the end of the sentence, shall call. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Jehovah shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Jehovah hath said, and in the remnant whom Jehovah shall call. In verse 19 of Exodus 33:18-23, this word is translated in I will proclaim. And this is speaking about Moses, who is beseeching God to see his glory, that account. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of Jehovah before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And Jehovah said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And we know that the rock is a picture of Christ. And it shall come to pass that while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Also, if we go to Jonah 2:2, this, of course, is a historical parable concerning Christ being slain from the foundation of the world, because it takes place in the belly of hell in the belly of the fish. And here it's rendered as I cried, and said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto Jehovah, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice. The second cried, by the way, is a different word than Korah, 71:21. It's actually 77:68. It's Shava. Well, I would like to then move ahead in our verse. So they read in the book of the law distinctly. This word distinctly is 65:67. It's actually a root word, so it doesn't stem from any other words. Although what is interesting is that there are 5 other Hebrew words that are identically spelled to this one. But I don't want to get into that quite yet. Let's focus instead on this one particular word and how God employs it throughout the Old Testament. One thing that is noteworthy is the fact that it only occurs in 5 passages, and yet each time it is translated by a different word, which is pretty unusual. Here are the 4 other references besides Nehemiah 8:8. Leviticus 24:12 states, and they put him in ward that the mind of the Lord, or the mind of Jehovah, might be showed them. Similarly, we read in Numbers 15:34, and they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done to him. This is the man that was picking up sticks on the Sabbath day, if you recall. And the first one in Leviticus 24:12, I believe, has to do, let me double check this. I believe it has to do with the man that cursed. Let me just check that real quickly. Leviticus 24:12. Let's see, yes. And the son of verse 10, and the son of an Israelitish woman whose father was an Egyptian went out among the children of Israel, and this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp. And the Israelitish woman's son blasphemed the name of Jehovah and cursed. Yes, so that is correct. Also, if we go to Proverbs 23:32, we find this warning, at the last it biteth like a serpent and stingeth like an adder. And of course, an adder is another very poisonous snake. And in the context here, let's see, I didn't unfortunately write this down. Proverbs 23:32. This has to do with drunkenness, which spiritually has to do with the wine of a false gospel. And this is the warning where it says at the last, the wine of a false gospel bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. In other words, it's going to lead a person, the one that is under the influence of this false gospel, to death. Lastly, we will look at Ezekiel 34:12. As a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. That are scattered is this word, the same word distinctly. So will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And you will probably recall that Ezekiel 34, like Jeremiah 23, Matthew 23, is directed to the religious leaders, to the pastors and elders, for their lack of oversight, of faithful oversight over their congregations. and not sharing the truth with them, and being more concerned with their own well-being instead of the well-being of the sheep. And so this is a very, very pointed chapter having to do with them. So there already we can see these four different words, and Lord willing, in our next study, we'll continue looking very closely at Nehemiah 8:8.